sure some of you guys have seen this already, but DJ Vlad posted this confession on his X/Twitter account the other day, and it sent Twitter into a frenzy. By last count, this is probably his highest viewed post, I think, on his platform, on his Twitter account. And DJ Vlad, you know, has all those like inflammatory, controversial interviews with a lot of like, you know, gangsters and drug dealers and rappers involved in beef. You know, he knows how his channel is. But this post that he made might be one of the most viewed posts he's had on his account, despite all those clips that have gone viral over the years. And he posted the following. He said, "I have a confession. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan Thee Stallion. They also paid off all the jury members to convict Tory, and they bribed the judge too. JT did the verse for the grandsons of his grandson's new album. Sorry, let me go there again. And they bribed the judge too. Jay-Z did a verse for his grandson's new album. They paid off Megan's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. The LA police are all on Jay's payroll, and it doesn't stop with LA, but you're not ready to hear that part. The Mexican guy who stabbed Tory in prison, who do you think paid him to do that? You already know the answer to that. The 3 Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal, all paid off by the Rock Nation. Jay also paid Trump not to pardon Tory, even though it's a state case. Trump can only pardon federal cases, but knowing Trump likes to bend the rules, Jay wasn't taking any chances. I can't keep these lies secret anymore. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me." So clearly, if you read that and you've got any, you know, and your IQ is just above Wings of Redemption, if your IQ is just a couple of points above Wings of Redemption, you'd know this is definitely said tongue-in-cheek with heavy sprinkles and smothering of fucking sarcasm. But as I mentioned on Taz, sarcasm doesn't come across well on social media, right? Sarcasm does not play across well, does not come across well on social media. So everybody took this on face value. Why do they take this on face value? To be fair to people, it's not like they're low digit. Sorry, it's not as if they're low digit IQ. I think the reason why they took it on face value is because most people out there don't believe that Megan Thee Stallion was shot. Most people out there don't believe Tory Lanez did it. Most people do believe that it was some sort of conspiracy, some sort of, you know, effort by Megan Thee Stallion and her team to basically make Tory Lanez, you know, responsible for the shooting when he wasn't. That's the really concerning part about this story. It's just how many people don't believe her. And it also made me think, it also made me kind of reconsider some of my criticism of Megan Thee Stallion, because I'm somebody that doesn't believe the version of events that was played out in court. Can I sit here and say hand on heart, I don't believe Tory did anything? I don't think so. I think he played a part in what happened, in so that he was not in control of himself. He was thinking with his dick too much. If anything, if I'm being really honest, I would say if I'm Tory, I'm taking that prison sentence on the chin. I'm not doing any of the appeals. I'm taking it on the chin. I'm taking full responsibility. I'm taking full accountability, because I think Tory Lanez got himself in that position because he was too hungry, too thirsty, leading with his dick. He went to fuck everything that moved. Allegedly, he was fucking, you know, Megan's ex-best friend. Then he fucked Megan. Then allegedly he was trying to fuck Kylie when they were at the house. He was doing too much. He was running around too loose, too reckless, doing way too much. Obviously kind of buoyed by the success of his fucking radio show that he was doing during fucking COVID. That was going fucking crazy. I get it. But I think he should know the lesson, because that's what happens when men think with their dicks. You get involved and you get in trouble. Now, if I'm Megan Thee Stallion's team, I would be very concerned, because this shows you just how undecided and skeptical the public is at large, because they really engaged with this post from DJ Vlad like it was true. Everyone thought, oh my god, see, I knew it, I told you, this was all one big conspiracy, Tory's innocent, Megan did this, Megan did that. And then the other point I mentioned in Taz, which I think is very pertinent with this kind of situation, I think the reason why this story doesn't seem to go away, the reason why Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion will never probably outlive this story and will never be able to move on from this, is because at the heart of it, I think this speaks to the consciousness of men around the world, in that this story contains an issue. This story is like one of those false accusation stories. And I think men around the world have nightmares about being falsely accused. You know, about being falsely accused of a crime, being falsely convicted, and then, you know, having to spend many years in prison for something you didn't do. I think that's one of men's kind of greatest fears. So I think maybe this plays into it. This is why maybe guys are not able to kind of let go, move on, are kind of like judging Megan badly from the back of this type of thing. And it also made me think, maybe that's why I should maybe reverse my or change my opinion on Megan Thee Stallion, because I always was thinking like, why is Megan Thee Stallion's team, why is she on purpose, why don't they seem to be willing to move on? Why is she suing Tory while he's in prison? Why is she getting a fucking, you know, restraining order put on him while he's in prison? Why is she suing bloggers who are talking favorably about Tory and not her while he's in prison? Like, the guy's in prison for like 10 years, I think minimum he has to do is 8. Like, he's out for a long time. Like, you won the war, you won the battle, you won the war, let it go. But now I think this is why they don't let it go, because the public at large don't believe her. That's a big deal if you're like an entertainment person. If you work in the entertainment industry, if you know what I mean, a part of your success is being liked by the public. And if the public thinks by and large that you're a liar, your career's not going to go anywhere. So maybe that's the reason why Megan and her team don't seem to be able to move past this. And every time some sort of infraction comes up off the back of this, they always kind of like address it. There's always a statement, there's a lawsuit, there's this, there's that. Maybe this is why, because they know at large the public doesn't believe her. So maybe that's why she probably has every right to keep on correcting the narrative, correcting the story, and making it known that no, I was shot, this motherfucker did that, blah 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 blah. But off the back of this, it also made me think to myself, again, like, it made me doubt and think to myself, you know what, like, if I'm in Tory Lanez's position, do you honestly let this go, the trial go by, without taking a stand and speaking for yourself? Surely you wouldn't, right? Surely you would speak for yourself. There's no way that you would let something like this play out the way it did and not speak for yourself. But he didn't, for whatever reason. I don't really know why. But anyway, off the back of this, everyone went kind of crazy and was, you know, talking about it on social. Vlad didn't actually come out and ever say it was sarcastic. He just carried on posting as normal. But DJ Vlad did jump onto Academics' stream and basically clarify that it was all done with tongue-in-cheek sarcasm there. And obviously Academics let it be known that people took it seriously because it's a serious topic, and a lot of people have their doubts about it. So I'm going to play a clip of you for a minute here of DJ Academics and Vlad talking about the whole issue. Bear with me 1 second while I pull it up. They actually talk about it, and I think it's kind of a good conversation. There we go, here. So big up CY Chels. Big up CY Chels. I think it's CY Chelsea probably. They post a clip here of Academics talking to DJ Vlad over the phone about this viral tweet.
Conversation.
Yeah, you think?
Vlad, what's going on?
Man, look, if you look at like my previous tweets, I was talking about how ridiculous the whole news cycle was, because they were bringing back this old video from May of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she really was the shooter, and people like, oh, look, the evidence is in. And I'm like, this is a tweet from May, and he wasn't even the bodyguard that night. He was the...
To be fair to DJ Vlad, first point I want to make is, why is it his responsibility to try and like rewrite the narrative or to kind of pour cold water on the story and make this whole he could have just said this is nonsense, this is from last year. He wrote that whole thing knowing full well that some people are going to take it on face value. Now the interesting part for me is that there's a new meta now on social media. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. There's a new meta now on social where people will purposely post a video with a caption that doesn't accurately depict what's going on in the video. And I think it plays into the fact that most of us don't click things or read things. Most of us just see stuff on the timeline, take it on face value, see the headline, okay, cool, and then keep on scrolling, or make our assumption or make our opinion based on that caption. So I think he's playing off the back of that. But again, it kind of causes unnecessary confusion because everyone's trying to figure out if this is fake news, if it's not fake news. But this is a current thing, especially with like clipper accounts, like clipping accounts for streamers. It's like a constant thing. There's one particular one on Twitter, I think it's called like DJing or something. There's one particular Twitter account that clips loads of streamers that purposely puts the most misleading, contradictory caption above a video that says a completely different thing, but most people don't click the video, so everyone kind of reacts off the back of it. Famously, there's a Frank Ocean channel. There's one of the biggest Frank Ocean's accounts. One of the biggest Frank Ocean accounts on Twitter actually does the same thing too, where they'll keep posting clips and captions that don't make any sense or that are complete lies for like engagement farming, engagement baiting, whatever it may be, and it will send, you know, the fan base into a frenzy. But if you know Wagwan, you know Wagwan. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a more convoluted, a more sinister version of like a Dunk Central. You know Dunk Central, the fucking the account that posts all those really funny kind of like, you know, made up headlines and fake screenshots and shit. They do the similar thing, but they just kind of use real clips, but then they just purposely, you know, misinterpret or summarize the clip in the caption. But most people don't really click clips or just have everything on mute. I know I do anyway. Only psychos have their own feed on fucking loud. Most of the time your feed's on mute, unless you click the video itself. So you just read the fucking headline and just base your opinion off of that.
The bodyguard who claims you overheard something during the court proceedings, whatever, and people are like, oh, that's because Jay-Z, he bought off all the jurors. I said, okay, that's an interesting idea for a tweet. So I created this whole ridiculous tweet with every conspiracy theory laid out one after the other, to the point of even saying that Jay-Z did a verse for the judge's grandson.
Yeah, that was reaching, of course.
Do you think that was reaching?
Well, hey, listen, I knew this was a satirical tweet from the get-go. I was just speaking about the tweet on stream here. And by the way, Vlad, I'm telling you, you fucked the hip-hop game up with this. Usually I get about 15,000 people watching me. I have 31,000 right now listening to me. Just let you know, okay? And it's all because of you. So we got to get down to some hard facts. Now,
I think Academics is also, I've checked into his stream a little bit. I think he's still talking about, he's been talking about this for like an hour, I feel like, or more than an hour. So this is it just goes to show you just how gripped the public is at large, maybe most of the American public, but they don't seem to be able to move past this. I don't know what in particular it is about this issue or this shooting. Not sure if it's because of the aspect that it may be a story where somebody's been falsely accused of something, whether it's just because at the time it happened and it was during COVID and we were all locked in at home and we saw it play out in real time whilst we were all on our phones. I don't know, but there's something about this Megan Thee Stallion Tory Lanez shooting that just we as a public can't seem to get past or move past. You know, there's no resolution, even though Tory's in prison and was found guilty. People don't believe it. Megan Thee Stallion's career is kind of stagnated because of it, I think, a little bit as well. Like, it's constant affair.
Okay.
I'll tell you two issues. And by the way, I've also said, me and you, we trade podcast appearances. I get on Vlad TV, you come on my show. Our next podcast has to be solely about this because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Now, I had two issues, and you could, we'll get into real depth, like I guess when we sit with each other. But my two issues was this: I think you sent and fired off this tweet because you slightly have an axe to grind still about Tory. Not that you have a problem with him, but people were skeptical of you of when you predicted an outcome, this and third. And I thought you putting up this tweet made an incident so big. Now it's like really kicking his back in for someone who is going through, like, he's incarcerated. It's not like you actually think he did it and he's free. He's incarcerated. He's trying to fight for his freedom or at least some type of relief. And I feel like this is kicking a man when he's down. Okay. Second, okay.
Well, hold on. Can I address the first one, or do you want to tell me?
No. Go ahead. Okay.
That's a good point, though. That is a good point. It's another, but then again, I get why he's doing it, because that tweet that went out recently, where they just recycled that old press conference of Tory's lawyers saying that the fucking security guard has jumped. I mean, it was unnecessary. Whoever from the Tory Lanez camp that kind of refed that back onto the algo to help him did a bad job, because it made it seem like that was a new clip and it was a clip from last year. You know what I mean? So I get, or from whenever it was. So I get why Vlad would see that clip and want to rewrite the narrative or correct it, but it just came across like he was unnecessarily just adding fuel to the fire. Something is already like, the embers are kind of slowly dying out, and he came across and just started fanning them again just for the sake of it. It's completely unnecessary, really. And even though that tweet was like a defense of Jay-Z a little bit, like basically taking the piss out of the conspiracy theories that Jay-Z is in control of everything and has bribed and influenced everybody. If you're Jay-Z, you also wouldn't take too kindly to that tweet, because it's putting you back into that conversation as well. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't take too kindly with you being inserted in that convo either. So I don't think anybody in the story is happy with that tweet, whether you're Megan Thee Stallion's camp, whether you're in Tory's camp, or whether you're Rock Nation affiliate or whatever, or Hovenger. You're not going to be happy that Vlad said what he said.
Okay. Tory has been convicted by a jury of 12 people and has been sentenced. He filed an appeal.
He seems happy about it, doesn't it? Why is he saying that with a smile on his face? Why does Vlad sound like he's saying that with a smile on his face?
And it was rejected.
Vlad loves to hear when a black man gets incarcerated, isn't it?
Now, you could say I'm kicking him while he's down or whatever. He has gone through the legal process and it didn't work out, which is what I've been saying the whole time. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory.
Yeah,
I don't know him. We've never
do.
spoken. I ran into his dad and we had a respectful conversation. Me and his dad have each other's phone numbers. I said he can come to my show at any point. Tory can come do Vlad TV if he wants to call.
Why would he do that? Why would he do that?
I publicly said I feel really bad over what happened with him over the stabbing incident. But it's just like this constant cycle of like, oh, it was really someone else. He never did it. You know, he's the, Rock Nation manipulated everyone. It's just like a ridiculous theory. In the same way that I've been talking about the Nicki Minaj's of the world and so forth, this is just the same thing. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory.
Do you think I have a problem with is always like this? Is it really a ridiculous theory though? When there's so many holes in the story, I don't want to go back into it. I don't really give a fuck. It's the case is over. The people have got. I don't care. But I don't really get the thing that people do when they're like, oh, all the conspiracy theories or the conjecture or the doubts or the skepticism is just ridiculous. Is it ridiculous? The whole fucking shootings there's so many holes in the story from either party, from all parties, from some of the witnesses. I mean, there's so many holes in the story. There's so many inconsistencies. Like, it's just one of those things. Unfortunately, it's not like an airtight case. You know what I mean? Like, so people are going to have their doubts, and the people that are involved are also, they kind of, in terms of likability, the people that, the victim isn't probably the most likable person in the world. Unfortunately for her, that probably doesn't help it because she doesn't come across like the quote unquote perfect victim. But yeah, I don't think it's as ridiculous as he's making it sound, these conspiracy theories. They're annoying, don't get me wrong, because the case is over, but I don't think they're ridiculous.
Hope Tory does come home sooner than expected. I've always said this.
Well, the reason why I say you possibly have an axe to grind, and it appears so, and it feels like kicking him while he's down, because like there has always been a controversial case where not all of the constituents or the citizens in the United States or viewing public agree. Like, for example, and
that's the unfortunate part of the world we live in, isn't it? If you think about it, that's the unfortunate reality that we live in. You can be convicted in the court of law, but if the court of public opinion thinks you're innocent, the doubt is always going to remain. That's one of the major issues of the world we live in. That's why I think in general it's probably harsher sentence to be judged guilty by the court of public opinion than it is by the court of law. Case in point, the Epstein files. Everybody on those Epstein files, no matter where they go in life, they're constantly going to be reminded of it. Their lives will never be the same again. And I think that is worse than a prison sentence. I think everybody in the Epstein files, from the royal family, from the people from the Middle East, from people from highfalutin families in Europe, or whoever they are, whatever foreign dignitary, whatever high status person that's on the Epstein files, even if they don't spend a day in prison, the fact that they've been exposed as being people who were in close contact or proximity with Jeffrey Epstein, visited the island, all that dog shit stuff that they did, that is going to be worse for them than spending a day in prison. That reputational damage, the court of public opinion thinking you're guilty, thinking you're a paedophile, thinking you're a rapist, that actually does more harm than good. So I think in Megan Thee Stallion's case, now some time has passed by, I can probably now understand why her team are so aggressive with, trying to get a restraining order out on Tory Lanez while he's in prison, filing this, suing bloggers, being super, super aggressive, because they know that the court of public opinion plays a huge role in Megan Thee Stallion's success or lack thereof. Like, if she doesn't get the public back on her side, your music career is basically dead in the water. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what happens with this NBA player. Like, she's never going to be a success as she was before in music again. She needs the public on her side, type of thing. And the only way that you do that maybe is by, going after every person in media that maybe says something contrary to the verdict in court, I guess.
OJ Simpson. Would you go as far to say anybody who believes that OJ did it, they're an idiot, or they're just like lunatics? Because that's what this kind of comes across. I feel like there's a particular thing about the Tory thing. Not that I really don't think you have anything against him, but I know you, Vlad. When Vlad gives his opinion and he's right, Vlad loves to be like, I told you so. I think this is a told you so moment. Yet again, just it's blown up beyond that because now people are making a lot of other assumptions.
I mean, I guess you want to, you can frame it how you want to frame it. At the end of the day, this guy.
we're framing it how you said it. You can frame it how you want to say it. Like, that's how it come across, brother.
I triggered off of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she was the shooter because you overheard her say it during a conversation. You could check. This whole thing entered the cycle once again. And it was all over, like, the blogs and everything else like that. And it's like, yo, I don't want Tory to stay in prison. I think he's done his time. He went through a horrific stabbing incident. I hope he comes home early. I have nothing against Tory. He can come do the show. Me and him have had one DM exchange, and that was it. That was it. That's our only interactions. But at the end of the day, this was triggered off of the lunacy coming back into the cycle again. At the end of the day, you know that he filed an appeal and it was struck down, right? But then again, only 2% of appeals ever go through.
Yeah. And again, these are things that the reasonable people who still have doubts.
Anyway, you get the point. This story seems like it will never end. This story seems like it will never, ever, 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 ever end for some reason.